Welcome to the WrestleWolf podcast brought to you by the Pigskin Podcast Network. I'm Damien Gibson.
And I'm Paulie T. You can find Damien on Twitter at Mr. Damien Gibson and me there at Mark Paulie T. Also, check out the WrestleWolf.com website.
Cool, man. Slightly different format today. We're going to quickly go through our highlights and lowlights of the week in AEW. Quick break. And then after the break, we're going to go through the card for All Out, preview the card, talk about what we're looking forward to, and then the inevitable predictions, which will make us look like fools. But it'll all be a bit of fun. Is there anything else we want to talk about before we get into our highlights and lowlights of the week, Paulie? Anything on the agenda?
Nah, let's just get into it.
Yeah, let's get into it. All right, let's go with the lowlights. Do you want to go with your? It was a pretty good week this week, so it was hard to find lowlights.
I'm gonna say that my lowlight was the antithesis or the opposite of your mark of the week. This is my anti-mark of the week.
Right.
This is the dude that was holding his 3-month-old baby up to CM Punk in the crowd as if CM Punk is the fucking Pope.
He is the Pope. After a promo like that, man, I would have given Punk whatever he wanted. My car, my house, my girlfriend, whatever Punk wanted. He was fired up. He was like, here, have my baby.
That guy easily could have slipped in fault. The baby could have hit the railing or the cement or punched by some other dude in the crowd. It could have been a tragedy.
Man.
What a fucking idiot. Serious.
Look, if the baby had fallen, Punk would have jumped off the balcony and saved him. Look, if he was, put it this way, if he was handing his baby to Jon Moxley, then yeah, that's crazy. It's insane.
Moxley would have
wrestled it.
Start biting its forehead.
Moxley would have wrestled it for 15 minutes and had one of the matches of the year. and then bladed himself and the baby.
It's so true.
It's so true. That's what he does. Man, we'll get to Punk and Mox in a bit because they're obviously highlights of the week. My lowlight was the mixed tag match. And I look, when we were having our production meeting before the show, you called me Jim Cornette, which happens quite a bit in our production meetings. And I know I flip-flop. I know I'm kind of all over the place. And sometimes it is just because of the people who are in the match. Now, I want to give a caveat of this. That I really like Ortiz and I really, really like Ruby Soho. But unfortunately, they're working a program with Sammy Guevara who, as far as I'm concerned, Eddie Kingston should have been made AEW champion for slapping Sammy Guevara backstage. And Tay Conti... look, she's better than her mate, whatever her name, Anna Jay, but I still just don't think she's there. There was just a lot of... When I was watching this match, man, if I could be serious for a second, when I was watching this match, the rules are that the girls can only wrestle the girls and the guys can only wrestle the guys, right? Is that right?
Yes.
So why all of a sudden have we got Ortiz using Ruby Soho, power bombing her onto Tay, and we've got this and that? And also, like, why do we all of a sudden have a mixed tag division? There's already too many belts on the shows as it is. You know what I mean?
When did you become a too many belts guy?
Look, I just think once this tipped it over the edge, the bloody AAA mixed tag belts, it's too much. It's too much. We don't need a mixed tag division. And we especially if we're going to have Sammy Guevara and fucking Tay Conti as the faces of it. I don't need that. I don't want them.
At
I
least
don't
they'll be able to
like
book heel
them.
champions.
Hmm?
At least they'll be able to book heel champions because they
Ah,
can't book
man,
babyface ones.
no. Look, go and do this in AAA. It's actually perfect for both of them. Because Sammy can do some hard work down there. That'll be good for him. And we'll get Tay Conti down there learning how to wrestle 100% properly. And then they can come back in, I don't know, 3 to 6 years and we can. We can see whether they've improved. I mean, Sammy is obviously great in the ring, but there was just something about this match where it's like, okay, well, you set the rules for me and then you immediately broke them. And it just completely took me out of suspending my disbelief, which is what the guys and girls need to do, right? Like they need to sell the match. So I think that this isn't a predetermined fight. And this felt very predetermined to me.
Damien, unless we were watching an ROH Pure Rules match, then I reckon every single match we watch would contain moments in it when we could easily be saying, hang on, that shouldn't be happening. That's not part of the rules. It always happens. Always, always, always happens.
Yeah, but it's so much more noticeable when a girl is wrestling a guy.
Well, when there's a tag match, there should only ever be two competitors in the ring at once.
Yeah, but the difference between those tag
Are there
matches and
always four in the ring at once during the majority of the match?
yeah, the friggin' trios match before that, did anyone ever tag in or out?
No,
I don't know what the hell's going on.
actually, I did see Orange Cassidy tag at one point.
Yeah, I think Chuck and Trent might have patted Orange on the back at one point or something. But look, the difference between that and what I'm talking about here is it's so much more noticeable because the guys and girls have to get out of the ring as soon as the other person is tagged. So it's not as fluid, right? Like those trios matches, and whether it's girls or guys, doesn't matter. Those tag matches or trios matches are more fluid because you don't have those moments in the match where they stop.
Yeah, and the other have to get
and then
out.
the other one has to get out.
in. Yeah.
So it's just so much more noticeable to me anyway. And then I know it's nitpicking. It was a really fucking good week of AEW wrestling. So like for me to find anything that I was disappointed in, this was pretty much the only thing. So if it sounds like I'm being mean and small, I am, because we've got to come up with something that we didn't like. And this is it.
And I just buried a guy who loves his baby. So
Yeah, man. I love CM Punk in Chicago. Yeah, I was watching this wrestling match from Chicago. CM Punk was there, and there was this guy in the audience, and he loved CM Punk. What a loser. Let's get into the highlights because there's sorry, man.
Talk about some good things.
Yeah, let's talk about some good things. Well, look, just quickly, a good thing before we get into our actual good things is that I've found like this week there wasn't really any giant negative news stories about AEW, and that was nice. It was nice to, there were a few things thrown around, but nothing really stuck, and it was just nice to be able to be like, yeah, wrestling is good this week.
So would you say that you were able to just enjoy wrestling?
Yes, I took that guy. Look, that's a nice sentiment, guy with the sign. But I've also said on this podcast that I dislike these middle laners more than I dislike WWE Fed bots. The whole like little girl from the taco ads where it's like, why can't we have both? It's like, well, because one of the tacos is an evil taco. That's why. Because one of the tacos is going to do business with the Saudi Arabian government.
Oh, yeah. Well, different podcast.
It is a whole different podcast. What was your highlight for the week, Polly?
Oh, well, look, I repetitive maybe, but I got to see Will Ospreay on my TV again. And not only did I get to see Will Ospreay, I got to see him in a match with Kenny freaking Omega. And it was amazing.
Yeah.
Those guys are just so good. I am thrilled and I'm privileged to be a fan of this entertainment at this time in my life when those two people exist. It was just so fluid and hard hitting and creative and acrobatic and fun and fast and just amazing. And it would just be the 5 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever the actual. Actually, it was probably about a 10-minute match.
Hmm.
Um, I would recommend that anyone who's you know questioning why do you like watching wrestling, this is why. This is why.
Yeah. What do you think about the story line of the Elite winning this match?
Well, I felt like it had to happen. I mean, you can't bring back your EVP in a team with the other EVPs who are, and one of them is Kenny Omega,
Hmm.
and then beat him like straight away after he's coming back from injury. He's got to be successful. It's obvious. It's the best story. It's the right story to tell.
Yeah, and it doesn't. There's no Osprey doesn't get hurt by losing these matches, right?
No, well, he didn't get pinned. That was for sure. Oh, that helped, I suppose.
Yeah,
The
well, you're
story.
protecting the star by doing that.
Yeah. Actually, there was I'm gonna have to mental note for myself to check. There is some footage that I heard about after the Dynamite went to air. Well, after they went off air, of Osprey and Aussie Open attacking the Elite. Because the last thing I saw was Osprey sitting on the ramp, just going. So
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was stewing in his own juices about how upset he was. But I'm glad you brought that up, Paulie, because that will culminate with Kenny going to Japan.
it's highly likely it's going to
Yeah,
be January as part of.
Wrestle Kingdom. It's usually
Yes.
January 14th to I think it goes for 12 days now.
Well, actually,
No,
I've got I've,
it goes for 2
I've
nights.
got exciting news.
What's that?
It's actually only going to be one night this time.
Oh, really? Good.
Yeah, yeah.
That's good. That is good. Unless it goes for 7 hours.
Well, uh,
This is something, I mean, again, I don't want to be negative Nancy, but all wrestling pay per views have to be shorter. It's just crazy. I mean, how do they?
we've got so much coming up this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, if you if you're not a partisan guy and you're watching everything, there's so much wrestling this weekend. Your Clash of the Castle, which could be the best pay per view WWE's done in a long, long time. You've got All Out, which is like, I mean, we're going to go through the card after the break, and it's just fucking mental. So if you're trying to watch everything, it's just
I think there's a
crazy.
GCW show. I think
There is a GCW
there's
show.
NXT Worlds Collide.
Yeah.
It's today or
Oh
sometime.
yeah, there's the Worlds Collide thing as well, which could be cool. And then New Japan starting their new Rising Spirit
Yeah,
thing that starts today or yesterday.
there is a lot of wrestling.
There is a lot of wrestling, but we're talking about AEW wrestling. And my highlight of the week was the Punk. Well, look, all of it, like
Mm.
Moxley and Punk, and then Moxley and and usually that kind of stone cold, the two protagonists or antagonists, whatever you want to call them, coming out continuously would really annoy me and frustrate me, because it just doesn't. I don't find it believable that they keep coming out all the time. But I just and at the very beginning of the Punk promo where he was sort of indicating that maybe he might quit and stuff. I hate that. The retirement. I'm getting pretty sick of the hinting at retirement promos to get people to watch TV. This is more continuing on from Mickey James on Impact today. So if you listen to the Impact show, you'll hear me go off on one about Mickey James's retirement speech in Impact this week. But by the end of that promo, can I be real with you, Paul, and the audience for a second?
Do it.
I got really emotional by the end of this Punk promo. I was so fucking invested. I thought the whole thing had worked. At the beginning, I was like, oh, whatever, you're not going to retire. And then by the end of it, I was like, oh my God, I was so upset and worried that he was going to retire and now he's going to wrestle. And I am so heavily invested in CM Punk. I don't even realize how much I'm invested in him until I'm watching him every week. It's legitimately like I have my own team in AEW and it's Punk. I mean, the great thing about wrestling is that you don't have to pick one team. That's what's awesome about wrestling. But he really is. I mean, he makes me believe so much. I hate Jon Moxley right now. And up until he was before he started feuding with Punk, I was calling him my wrestler of the year, which
Highlight of the week every week.
Yeah, I probably will make him my wrestler of the year by the end of the year. It's either him or Dax. I'm not sure yet. Could be Ospreay. Anyway, but as soon as he started feuding with CM Punk, it's like, fuck Jon Moxley. Fuck the BCC. I don't want anything to do with it. I hate Bryan Danielson. Anyone who's Jon Moxley's friend. And that's, that's what good performers, it's what good wrestlers do, right? They reel you in, they make you believe, they make you care. That's the most important thing. Did I care about this? Did I care about, especially with all the flack that was happening on Twitter during the week, right? Like, Punk got squashed. Punk hates AEW. He's leaving. Mox hates him. The locker room hates Punk. They hate Moxley. This and that. Da, da, da. I mean, Tony Khan talked on that, on his
the media scrum call.
Yeah, the media scrum leading into all that. He was talking about how it was a bit of a risk, but he feels like it's paid off, the booking of the Punk Mox match, because he thought it would get more eyeballs on it and get people talking about it, and it's absolutely happened. And then he had to rely on Punk to knock it out of the park with the promo this week, so people believed.
Yeah,
and to get people, because Punk's not going to fuck up a promo, but if he had, or that they hadn't booked that properly, then that negativity would absolutely have continued into All Out. But they took a massive chance and Punk just knocked it out of the... But with Moxley, definitely. But really, most of the heavy lifting was done by Punk this week, and it was just fucking brilliant, man. Baby or no baby, that promo was... that promo was fantastic.
Yeah, Tony was making comments during that call. This was in response to people questioning Thunder Rosa's promo about her injury and why Punk got more minutes to do it and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, he said, look, he makes booking decisions based upon what's going to draw, right? So he's making a TV show. He's got X number of minutes to fill. I've got to make decisions about what content's going to go in there during that time that'll rate higher.
Yeah.
That's what he's going to do, right? So with this in mind, which I totally agree with, there are a lot of things about what happened during that Moxley Ace Moxley Punk promo that I could pick apart and just say that doesn't make any sense. Why would you do that? Why didn't someone else come out and take the contract? It's the world championship. Well, surely everyone in the back would want to come out and take it. But okay, regardless of the fact that there are holes in this story, it was done to get the crowd excited in Chicago. It made good TV. People made a lot of noise. You got emotional.
Oh, great. Absolutely, it did.
Great. It was exciting. Sure. Bring it
on. I was like, I was in. I believed that, obviously when Ace came out and got the contract, it's like, well, that's Punk. And there was a part of me that was like, God, I don't know how this is going to go down. And that's what I meant by
You were invested.
Punk really knocking it out of the park, because they really did. I can't think of a metaphor to describe it, but they really pushed it to the limit of believability.
Mm-hmm.
Like I agree with you. Like it did get to a point for me as a grizzled old veteran Mark who's watched millions of hours of wrestling to be like, you're not gonna fucking get me with this, Tony. Fuck this shit, man. I don't care. I don't care if you've got Mox and Punk in this feud. Like, I'm not in. I'm not in. I'm not believing it. And then by the end of that CM Punk feud, I was like, I love pro wrestling so much. Just when I think I can't feel anymore, Paulie, Punk comes along and makes me sad, happy, angry, pumped up. Like, I could have wrestled John Moxley at the end of that promo. I mean, I would have lost, but I would have got in the ring. So, actually, I probably wouldn't have. As soon as I saw John Moxley, I would have run in the opposite direction. But I felt like I could have wrestled John Moxley, and that's the important thing.
How about we take a break?
Let's take a break. I need to take a breath. I'm getting emotional again. Let's hear from our sponsors. And we'll come back after the break with a preview of All Out. Welcome back, guys. All right. Paulie, All Out is on Sunday, American time, Monday, our time. We're actually going to get together in person and watch a pay-per-view together, which I was going to say is a rare occurrence, but we did it with the last pay-per-view, so...
Was it the last one? Or anyway, we did it.
It doesn't matter. People don't need to know about our private lives, man.
No, this is true.
But I'm excited because we're going to watch it live from the start. We're both taking the day off work. It's a big event. We're also probably now is the time to let everybody know that we're going to drop an episode straight after the pay-per-view, reviewing all the big happenings from All That, right?
Yeah, I think if we can stay awake long enough, because it seems the show's going to go for about 17 hours.
Oh God, yeah. We'll stay awake, man. Who are we kidding?
And then we're going to start recording.
Yeah, well, I'm going to have I'll have everything set up and ready to go before you even get here. So as soon as it finishes, we can just sit down, talk. We won't even talk to each other during the pay-per-view. We can't talk. We're going to save it all for the podcast. So that's going to be a fun day for us. Anyway, let's get into the card. We'll start with the match that was announced on Rampage tonight, which is the Aaa Mix Tag Match that I'm so excited about. So we got Sammy Guevara and Tay Conti versus Ortiz and Ruby Soho.
Sorry to be that guy again. I keep on doing this to you. Tay has changed her name. It's now Tay Mello. And Conti is actually the surname of her. It's not ex-husband because they never officially got married, but her previous boyfriend. So now that she's married to Sammy Guevara, she's no longer using this name that's attached to her previous partner. Her name now is Tay Mello.
Oh my God. Okay, but for some reason that makes me dislike her even more. Tay Mello and Sammy Guevara versus fucking Ortiz and Ruby Soho. I mean, it's been a very short story leading up to this match. What do we think is going to happen at All Out?
Yeah, they've already done the match twice.
Yeah,
in the last week,
and
then they're going to do it again on in a couple of days. The results went. What did the Bros have? They had one each in the last couple of days. Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I don't know. They'll probably just keep the belts on Sammy and Tay.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, it's AAA's booking, right? So if they were going to... there's no way that Tony's booking those belts, right? So it has to be Sammy and Tay retain, but I feel like there might be some sort of interference or something.
Something jazz hands related.
Yeah. Anyway, we can probably move on from that match. It is the one match that I don't care about.
I'm looking at the Wikipedia listing for All Out, and there are 14 matches listed there, but I can't see this one, Sammy and Tay. Is that because there's now 15 matches?
Yeah, there's 15 matches all up now.
Holy shit balls.
Yeah. So this is on the pre-show. What's the pre-show called this year?
It's called 0 Hour.
0 Hour. So this is on 0 Hour. Another match that's on 0 Hour is Tomohiro Ishii versus Eddie Kingston Paul. If Eddie Kingston had not smacked the fuck out of Sammy Guevara backstage, would this be on the main card?
No, this would not be on the main card, because on the main card would be Eddie versus Sammy.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Well, we got a better match out of it anyway. I mean, this is just the gift that keeps on giving. I mean, Eddie's done all of us a favor by smacking Sammy in the head. And now we get this match for free.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So and considering, yeah, for free. And this will be available on YouTube, or if you just open up the Fight app, you don't have to subscribe. You can see this match and a couple of others for freebies.
Yay. Yeah, well, we'll go through the other matches as well in a second. It's a good show. Like, it's a good hour. It's an amazing hour.
Okay, I'm going to say that Ishii will win again.
I'm going to go with Kingston winning, and then they'll have the rubber match in Japan. Maybe at Wrestle Kingdom.
Of course they will. Silly boy.
Oh, well, Paul, you can't win them all, and it's on the record now. You can't take it back. So, the next match.
No backsies?
No backsies, man. You know the rules. The next match is... I'm really keen on this match, man, which I didn't think I would be. This is for the All-Atlantic Championship. Pac, still after 3 years, I don't know how to say this. Pac? Is that right? Pac?
I'm going to say Pac.
Versus underrated and over it, Kip Sabian.
Now, interesting that you would have the All-Atlantic Championship defended on a pre-show.
Yeah, saying it's such a new title, right? But it is also a bit of it's immediately become a title that doesn't hold a lot of water. Pun not intended, maybe intended. Atlantic, get it? A lot of water. Yeah, I'll stop. What I will say is that why I'm so intrigued by this is, one, I've always thought that Kip Sabian's got a huge amount of potential, and I know that a lot of people sort of checked out during the Miro Kip Sabian story. But you have to give Kip Sabian props to being so committed to this underrated and over it gimmick. I mean, he's been at if it hasn't been him, he's organized for someone else to do it for the last, how long has he been on the shelf for? 10 months?
Like a year, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty phenomenal. I would love if someone could do a supercut of every AEW show. And it hasn't just been Dynamite Rampage. He's shown up at AEW Dark tapings, Dark Elevation. And then recently in the last month or so, he's sort of been stalking Pac. So like showed up at shows in England. Were they Rev Pro shows? Do you know?
I don't know. But I do remember that he did defend the All-Atlantic Championship at a Rev Pro show recently.
Yeah, So I think that's where those were happening. If we were wrong, let us know. I think I would love it if Kip won this, but I think Pac will.
I think Pac will, and I think we will. I'll hope that this will result in a program continuing between the two of them.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I would love to see, because look, Kip can really wrestle. I think he's a good promo, especially if he gets a go at this character, his own character. We all know that wrestlers do much better when they've got something to work with, and he's worked it out, this underrated and over it guy. Yeah, I'm super keen to see him do more work. Next up is a angle that I'm not as invested in, but I think it could be
Why
interesting
would that
anyway.
be? Yeah.
We've got Hook defending the FTW championship against Angelo Parker. What's Angelo's weird jazz hand name?
Daddy, I can't remember.
Daddy Bunga.
Uh,
Angelo Parker. There's no way in hell that Angelo Parker will Angelo Parker get any offense in this match, Paul?
Maybe 10, 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Will this match go longer than a minute?
No.
I don't think so either. I'm going for Hook to win this one in 46 seconds.
I think the only other alternative is if there's a Jolly Jazz Hands run in and that delays it by, because of the run in, but Hook ends up getting the win anyway. That's it. That's the only other way.
Will Taz get involved?
No.
Okay. So that is the pre-show. So that in itself could be a pretty decent episode of Dynamite if you had all of those matches,
4 matches
on it.
Yeah.
We don't know if so. We're on to the main card now. We have no idea if this is going to be the order or not. We're just going through a list that's on Wikipedia for full disclosure. The first match we've got is the American Dragon Bryan Danielson versus Chris Jericho in a grudge match / who's the best wrestler in the world match. This is a match that dreams are made of, Paul. What do you see happening here story wise? Are we going to get a long one? Will Jericho be up to doing something like that? So many questions. What are the answers?
Well, Jericho consistently surprises me that he can manage to be so creative and work in different styles to either complement or match his opponent repeatedly throughout different programs and throughout his career. And so I'm looking forward to seeing if he can, if he's actually going to introduce some of that sort of chain mat submission style wrestling that would sort of be more akin to the Danielson style, or do something different and just have a clash of styles. It really has a lot of possibilities that are all of them likely to be very enjoyable. And when it comes to the result, I'm pretty sure they've wrestled twice before. Once was in the old Black and Gold NXT, and I think the other time may have just been on a live show that in WWE times, and Jericho won both of them. So I'm going Danielson.
Yeah. I think because there's nothing on the line as far as, I suppose whoever wins this match could insert themselves into the championship picture because it's just got that weight to it. So I think, I think I'm going to go with Bryan Danielson. But not to try and bogart loving these guys, but I do. I mean, you've known me for a while now, Paul. I mean, Chris and Brian are right up there. I mean, they would definitely be in my top 5 wrestlers of all time behind Punk and Brett. So this is a match that I'm excited doesn't do it justice. I can't wait. I mean, the only thing that would be better than this is seeing like 99, 2000 Jericho versus modern day Bryan Danielson. This is the next, outside of time travel, this is the best match that I could hope for. So I'm super excited to see it.
Let's hope they
but
don't. They don't. Let's hope they give it enough time to that it justifies. Let's hope it's not over in 4 or 5 minutes.
no, yeah, good. At least 10 minutes, hopefully 20.
Yeah.
And no run-ins. I don't want to see BCC. I don't want to see jazz hands. I don't. This is too big a match to have anybody else come out.
That would
If it's
denigrate it.
Dynamite or Rampage, fine, but no, we don't need that.
You realize we've agreed with each other on 3 out of 4 so far. No, 4 out of 5.
Yeah, which one did we disagree on?
Ishii and Kingston.
That's right. No backsies. Next match is the 4-way match for the vacated AEW Women's
Not vacated
Championship or interim. Yeah. Anyway, we've got Toni Storm versus Britt Baker versus Jamie Hayter versus Hikaru Shida. I am super excited about this match. I think this will be a very, very, very good match. What are your thoughts and feelings on this one?
No, I can't help but agree. I love watching all of those guys, these performers in the ring. They showed on Wednesday that they can put together. They're all in top form at the moment, and they can put together a really fun match. And I expect this to just be if not first or second, or maybe in the top 3 of the 17 matches that we have to watch. But it's look, I'm hoping that it doesn't go to Britt, because she's already had a long run. So is Hikaru Shida. So that leaves Toni Storm and Jamie Hayter. Now, look, those two are really doing superb things on the mic, in ring. They're getting great crowd reaction. I reckon either of them would deserve a belt, and they would really look good on them.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Trying not to talk about the news this week, but based on a lot of the news flying around, I'm going to go with Britt Baker.
Oh,
yeah, I just am. I just feel like if all the stories look, it'll be a really good litmus test, right, to see if all these stories are bullshit or not. If Britt Baker wins the belt, it feels like that all the stories about Britt politicking backstage and Thunder Rosa are true.
All right, I'll choose a different one finally. Toni Storm for me.
I want it. I mean, I want it to be Toni Storm.
I know.
But I think it'll be Britt Baker. Yeah, I think it'll be Britt Baker. And then you can book the story of Toni Storm coming for Britt Baker. So maybe Britt Baker does something very heelish to win over Toni in the match. And then you can have a 3-month run between Storm and Britt. But I think Britt will win. And I think the crowd will boo.
Look, that is a good wrestling story. You should be booking this show. But look,
I'll stop it.
I have this little niggle that eats away at me when I think about what is going to happen during pay-per-views with AEW, because Tony, who is in control of creative, Tony Khan, pretty much is in favor. He generally goes for crowd favorites and baby faces at the pay-per-views.
Pay-per-views, yeah.
So that's kind of leans me towards Toni Storm.
Yeah, you're probably right. I just
But listening to you tell me that story, it's perfect. It sets up an instant program for those two to work together for the next 2-3 months.
yeah, and the opportunities for the beginning of that story are right there because you've got two of the three. You know, you've got two of Britt's. I mean, you've got Britt Baker, and you've also got her heavy in the ring already
Yeah.
to fuck over Tony in some shape or form. The only other story I could see in that is Jamie Hayter turning face
Whoa, that'll
and
be
fucking over Britt Baker for Tony Storm to win, and then
that.
you have a program between Jamie and Britt.
Oh, they would both be fantastic stories.
Yeah. They're the two stories
The
that
crowd would
stand
go
out to me
hot
that are
for
just
that.
glaringly there, but
Yes.
I don't know if we'll. I don't know, man. It could. I think you might be right that it'll just be Tony Storm wins, babyface champion, and then we don't know who. If previous booking is what happens, we'll like get Tony Storm champion, yay. Who is she going up against next? Oh well, we didn't book anything in the match for that. Britt
Yeah.
Baker.
Yeah.
But what it should be is, yeah, the heel champ and the babyface trying to get the belt off the heel champ. And look, Britt's got heat, like whether it's in real life or kayfabe, she does have heat, and she's good. She is good. Like when she's into it and she's doing good promos and stuff. So you put the belt on her, you appease her, and then you say to her, "Okay, fine, you can be champ for the next 3 months, but the your program you're working is with Tony Storm, and your job is to put her over." That's what I would be. That's what I would be doing.
I'm really looking forward to this match.
It's going to be great. Next up, we've got a match that I'm super looking forward to, and kind of came out of nowhere, although it had been building for a while. Is the House of Black, Malachi Black, Brody King, and Buddy Matthews, all guys I love very much, but feel like are being slightly underutilized at the moment, versus Darby Allin, Sting, and Miro. As soon as I said this story came out of nowhere, I was like, actually, it has not come out of nowhere as well at all, because there's been Miro and Malachi stuff going on, bubbling away for 3 or 4 weeks, and Sting and Malachi have had some stuff. And anyway, this match should slap. Who wins?
Well, it seems like Sting never loses.
That's true. That's true. Cool. Well, our work here is done.
I it's got like the outcome has to be like the program following this match will definitely be Miro's reaction. Either I defeated the pagans, or oh no, I've been challenged by the pagans, and now maybe he joins them or something. I don't know. It's going to be that. But Sting, he always wins, and he always wins at pay-per-views. I'm torn on this one. The House of Black booking lately has been pretty weird. Brody King, like he won the Royal Rampage, and then lost his coffin match, and Buddy's been off doing stuff in Australia. Yeah, I got to see him. Malachi's been, I think he's been injured actually. So, all right, Sting never loses. Sting, Darby, Miro.
So I'm going to go with the House of Black winning, because I think Sting will turn on Darby Allin.
Oh, what?
Yeah. And the only reason I say that is because Sting got the mist in the eye a few weeks ago, or a little while ago.
Yeah.
And it was brought up again on Dynamite this week.
Right.
Look, I think this is the biggest long shot I'm going for on the whole card, but I just feel like there's something going on there. It's either Sting will join House of Black or Miro will join House of Black, because both have had that mist
Yeah, that's true.
fat into their eyes. So unless both of them turn on Darby Allin and join the House of Black. I feel like something like that will happen and it will be a heel win, but it's time to. The problem is, right, man, is that you've got two guys in this match who they need some they need a push, as JR would say. Not a push necessarily, but they need a bit more of the limelight in Malachi and Miro. These are big ticket guys that you've spent a lot of money on and a lot of time on to get into the organization, and have been floating around the top of the mid card, bottom of the top of the card since they got here. So I don't know which lever they pull, or whether they put the two of them together in a feud and build that up over 3 months. But I just got a feeling that the House of Black will win in a screwy kind of way, but not in a bad screwy way, if that makes sense.
Sting, neither Sting nor Miro have enough beard or tats to be part of the House of Black.
I could see Miro in the House of Black more than Sting.
And what about that promo that that happened in today's Rampage when Miro came in and Sting came in from the side and said, "An enemy of my enemy is a friend." Like you think that was a double cross?
I don't know what's happening. I don't. And also there was the thing where Darby Allin was like trying to say to, because he said flat out like Malachi needs Buddy and Brody, not the other way around. So maybe they'll turn on Malachi. I don't know. Someone's turning on somebody in this match, Paul. That's all I know.
Yeah, we've got it on
but
tape.
I'm going to go with House of Black.
All right, next up, the streak.
Yeah, Jade Cargill versus Athena. We didn't really talk about the promo on Rampage. I thought it was great.
It was pretty convincing for me, actually.
Yeah.
I think she is going to take it off her. I think Athena's going to win.
I thought the same thing. Yeah, walking away from that promo, I feel like, yeah. And it's probably time, right? Like, I don't know if the streak is doing much. I don't think it's doing what Tony thought it would do initially. I think Jade Cargill is now established as a women's star. And, this is the mid-card title, so she could go after the women's championship as well. But we've had a year of this longer of Jade Cargill's streak, and it's pretty boring for me, to be honest. So,
okay.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Athena.
All right, so we'll agree again on this one.
But yeah, there is a part of me that's like, Jade Cargill's going to win. Next up, I feel like this is the best told story. Maybe, look, there's a few good stories going into this pay-per-view, but this is definitely right up there. Jungle Boy versus Christian Cage. Jungle Boy has 100% come into his own in this story with Christian. Where do you see this finishing up on Sunday?
Yes, I'm surprised that he hasn't had to had all of his trousers adjusted, because he's had a few extra sets of testicles grown in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I know, right?
Holy. Well, there's been a pattern in booking where there have been times when I've felt, okay, it's definitely going to happen today. They're definitely going to go over, and then then they just squeeze in one more, got you in a screw away, and you go, no, boo, and then it kind of, to do that that generates even more support for the babyface. So next time it's even more exciting. So that worries me that maybe Christian Cage is going to win this. However, I don't know if it deserves any more time. I think it's been the whole program has been promo work, They haven't done any matches against each other, like tag matches or anything like that. They've done just matches, just random matches against other people to give them to make them look good, look strong, heading into the pay per view. I'll go to Jungle Boy.
Yeah, I can't really add anything to what you've said there. I feel like the story's been great. I feel like it's done exactly what it needed to do, which was to convince and solidify Jungle Boy as a single star rather than just a singles participant. There's something going on with Christian's arm. So there's something that's going to be used in some shape or form. I don't know how. I think maybe Jungle Boy wins, and if they want to pull the trigger on continuing the feud, then they can use Christian's arm as an excuse. For the heel to come back and be like, "Yeah, well, you might have beaten me, but I wasn't at full strength."
That could work. Or the brace could be used as to choke him out or whatever.
Yeah, as a weapon or something, and then Christian wins and they carry it on. So
yeah.
As much as I think the perfect full stop would be an all out, I think because it's been doing so well and they've been doing so well at putting Jungle Boy over, they might do it for another pay-per-view cycle. But Jungle Boy. Next up, oh man, God, I'm all over the place with this. I don't even know what the fuck I feel about this thing. We got Wardlow and FTR versus Jay Lethal and the Motor City Machine Guns. On paper, this match should be superb. And they have, look, to be honest, to be fair, there has been a lot of work gone into making people care about this match. I don't.
Well, they tried really hard in today's Rampage.
They tried really hard in today's match. And that's the best they've done is that promo today, I think. But I don't know, man. What do you think about this match?
My sentiments exactly like these all of these participants, whether they be homegrown babyface, just got a championship, Wardberg, and or the experienced indie wrestlers who've come good and are covered with gold now with a FTR, with another very experienced, highly decorated indie wrestler, Jay Lethal. Motor City Machine Guns I haven't seen, but I've certainly heard about them, and I've heard the names of each competitor, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin. So I agree, it should be a killer match. But I'm just not. I just don't care that much, and I don't see why. There's got to be a reason why he's dragged in two dudes who aren't even part of the promotion to be on the main card of one of their biggest pay-per-views. I just don't get it. Like, are they setting up some kind of transfer of contract? They're going to move over to AEW and not be at Impact anymore. Like, I just don't really get it. So anyway, look, there's no way that when it comes to the result, the match hopefully will be great, but when it comes to the result, I cannot see any possible reason why they would. If Wardlow and FTR lost, that would make them look weak, and they are covered in gold at the moment. So why the fuck would you do that?
Yeah, I feel like the result is a fait accompli, right? Like the only thing I can see coming out of this is that maybe the Motor City Machine Guns sign on to Ring of Honor or something, and then go up against FTR for the Ring of Honor belts at some point, or just want to challenge for them as like representatives of Impact or whatever. But I mean, the one good thing that's come out of this is that Impact's getting mentioned on AEW again, which I really liked that relationship, and the fact that it kind of stopped as soon as Sammy Guevara went there. By the way, I just want to point that out.
Speaking of, actually, the Good Brothers have announced that they are not continuing their contract.
Oh, they have announced that. Okay, yeah. 'Cause
But
I knew
they
they were out of contract, but I didn't. Yeah, wasn't sure what their next steps were.
well they haven't announced they haven't chosen somewhere. They haven't been signed to a new organization yet, but clearly they will.
Yeah,
Like, where would they be best fit? Well, they maybe go back to New Japan. Like,
yeah. Well, Carl Anderson has the never. What's it called? Neverweight title, or
never open weight. Yeah,
yeah, never open weight title. So probably, I would say probably New Japan, and they're part of Jay Lethal's. Jay Lethal's. They're part of Jay White's Bullet Club.
okay,
So yeah, maybe New Japan with some AEW shows thrown in.
yeah.
Maybe.
It probably for those guys it'd be like a comfortable pair of shoes. They've been there, they've done that. They know how their system works over there. So
Yeah, absolutely. I really like it when they work together with the Bucks and Kenny, though. They're like good fun. But it's a shame for Impact because they were good. They were good tag holders and stuff. So, but anyway, yeah, Waldo FTR. Maybe there'll be something with the Motor City Machine Guns going into Ring of Honor. But yeah, who cares? It'll be a fun match to watch. Next up, we've got the Casino Ladder match. Winner receives a future AEW World Championship match. Quickly, we've got Claudio Castagnoli, who is the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion. We've got Wheeler Yuta, who is the other Ring of Honor champion.
pure.
The pure Ring of Honor champion. Penta Elzera Mido, Ray Phoenix, Rush, Andrade El Idolo, Dante Martin, and the Joker, which is just a random person who's going to show up. Paulie, maybe we'll have a guess at who the Joker will be and who's going to win the Casino Ladder match.
Well, the obvious one is the MJF.
Yeah.
Couldn't think it's anything funny there. It's MJF.
No, well, I mean, I feel like it's MJF as well. I mean, we could be double swerved and someone else comes in. It could be Adam Cole, maybe.
W. Morrissey.
Oh, God, imagine Twitter if it was fucking Morrissey. God, no. I mean, who could come back? Samoa Joe could come back. MJF could come back. Adam Cole could come back. There's no one really. There's no free agent. Or Bray Wyatt. I mean, Bray Wyatt's still floating around.
Yeah.
Although the the good word on the street is that he'll show up at Clash at the Castle rather than
All out. Yeah.
All Out. Yeah, MJF to appear in. Although as soon as I said Adam Cole's name, for some reason that resonates. So maybe I'll go with Adam Cole. I'll go with Adam Cole, baby.
All right. I don't think we're going to be surprised. I think it's going to be MJF, and MJF will win.
That would be great. I mean, that's the I think that's the best story. If we think the heavyweight title is going to go the way that it is, and then, but anyway, we'll see. Those casino matches are ladder matches I always really enjoy. Next up, we've got Swerve in Our Glory, Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland versus the Acclaimed, Anthony Bowens and Max Caster. Just a bit of news, Paulie, that you brought to my attention. The Acclaimed have finally got their Scissor Me Daddy Ass t-shirt up on Pro Wrestling Tees. It's been months of negotiation with Tony Khan, and they finally got it past the censors. So well done to them. Is there any possible way that the Acclaim can beat Swerve in Our Glory on Sunday night?
I think there is a very possible way. I think it's their time.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think they are going to win. I think the effort that the creative team have put into I say creative team, it's Tony Khan have put have put into featuring the Acclaimed even when Anthony Bowens was injured, keeping him keeping him on the TV every week, building up their profile. They are over, definitely big time over. They are OG AEW guys. They've always been a tag team. Lee and Strickland are singles competitors that just happen to be a team at the moment. I reckon that they will. I reckon the Kane are going to win it, and Swerve and Lee will probably have a little feud for a while, and then one of them will go off and try to get the TNT belt.
Well, I don't want to steal your thunder because it's a great story, but I actually think the same thing. I think the Acclaimed will win. After the promos today, I was like, I think Acclaimed's going to win. And I mean, the story between Swerve and Keith Lee has been, I mean, it's been going on for a while now, like 3 months, maybe even a bit longer than that. So that's probably a decent run up to tell the story of swerving Keith and turning on him. And then we get a 3 month, the story's right there. Like, if we don't get a 3 month Swerve and Keith Lee story going into the next pay per view, then I don't know what I'll do, but that's that's what should happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, and put the belts on homegrown young talent, rocket strap 'em, men, to the moon, and all that.
We've got this amazing trios tournament. I sent a comment to you before saying that this trios tournament has become everything that I hoped it could possibly be. I'm loving these trios matches, and the Elite are, well, actually, I don't know. We'll get to that in a couple of matches. But there is going to be a team that will have the trios belt after this weekend. So therefore, there are going to be other teams that'll be fighting them for it. So the competition between, like, the potential duos for standard tag opponents is going to be somewhat limited because of the fact that we've got 2 opportunities for groups to team together and get belts now. So it's just it's a perfect time to put it on these guys. It's just, please do it.
Yeah. Speaking of homegrown young talent, next up we've got Ricky Starks versus Powerhouse Hobbs. I think this is the story I'm most invested in, even after Tony involved the fucking factory in this story. I'm still so invested in both of these guys, to the point where I don't QT Marshall is now baseline. I don't hate QT Marshall anymore. He's gotten to a point where it's like, when I see him, I'm like, I feel like actually QT and the factory have actually done some half decent work in this story. But yeah, Sunday, all bets are off. Ricky versus Hobbs. I thought they did a good job of building this up on Rampage today as well. Who wins, man?
Well, I'm very surprised that I've seen some betting odds on DraftKings, of course.
Of course, on DraftKings.
No, because I haven't been able to work out the US VPN, but I'll try again. Anyway, I've seen some betting odds that say that the favorite for this match, it's switched now. There we go. Okay. They've woken up. Right. So the favorite was Hobbs, and I couldn't believe it. I thought, why? It's obviously not Hobbs. This is what I said before. Pay-per-views, baby faces. The baby face wins. This program doesn't need to continue. The purpose that it needed to serve was to break them up as a tag team. Then they have a big match, and that's it. It's done. And that's perfect. That doesn't need to drag on. And Ricky Starks is going to win. It's pretty obvious to me.
Yeah, and what I like about, besides the sort of not mini story, but the short story that's been told since the breakup of Team Taz, is that there is genuinely almost 3 years of story to tell between these guys, because Team Taz was one of the first factions in AEW, and these guys joined really early on. I mean, it was what, 6 months into Dynamite or something that Team Taz
Yeah,
started,
absolutely.
even earlier than that, maybe. So there's years of history between Starks and Hobbs. I think Hobbs came in a little bit later, but um, yeah. So there's a lot of weight to this story, man. So yeah, I agree. It doesn't need to keep going. Starks is over, and he is a star. Like, he is. There are
Mhm.
moments watching him at the moment where I know it's an obvious comparison, but there are some real strong Dwayne the Rock Johnson
Yeah,
vibes from Ricky Starks, and he needs to be. I think that's purposeful from Ricky's point of view, but he's also his own thing, and it's he just oozes charisma, man. Like, he just, you don't get that very often. So him hanging around in the mid card, dealing with FTW belts and all that sort of thing, he's done that. It's time for him to either move into the TNT title picture so he can eventually move up to the heavyweight picture, or even just go straight into the heavyweight picture, because he's ready. He's ready to go. And also, like, if Hobbs loses to Ricky Starks, that's not going to hurt him either. Like, Hobbs is a powerhouse of a dude, like, pun intended. He's a big enough powerhouse that you could just put him in any match, and he's going to look dangerous. So
of course, yes.
I'm super excited for this match, man. I can't wait, and I think Ricky will get the win.
Look, Starks hasn't sold me when it comes to his ring work, but you zoom in the camera and put a mic in his hand, and he's amazing.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't know if he's definitely not Bret the Hitman Hart in the ring, but I don't notice him. I don't notice him fucking up or anything like that. Yeah, he's not. Yeah, he's not the greatest worker in the ring, but it doesn't matter because he's just. I mean, The Rock wasn't.
Mm.
The Rock had like 3 moves, so you
But
don't always have to be.
he also looks like The Rock, you know, like
Well, The
he's
Rock didn't always look like The Rock now. I mean, he was big. He was always big, but it took a while for him to get to. And Ricky has gotten bigger and bigger,
all right.
over the time he's been in Dynamite. So he'll never be the size of The Rock. But yeah, like, I just think I think he's got all the tools. Not everyone has to be, and this isn't me necessarily saying this at you, man. It's just in general. Like, not everyone has to be Bryan Danielson to be world champ. Like, if the person is over and doing good work, then great, give him an opportunity.
Run with it. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Speaking of running with it, we have the inaugural AEW World Trios Championship match between it's the ongoing saga of Kenny and Adam, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks versus Hangman Adam
Mm.
Page and the Dark Order, which is now essentially just Alex Reynolds and John Silver. There's like 2 people left in the Dark Order.
Yeah, even though I know this is going to be an outstanding match, and the every match that I've seen leading up to it in this tournament has been, I really don't like what they've done with the switching out of or switching in of Hangman into this
Yeah.
trio. It denigrates the Dark Order. Like, why can't they
Mm.
just be the Dark Order?
Yeah. Yeah. I almost feel like this trios tournament has killed the Dark Order
Well,
as a thing. Like, I just don't. I mean, they were already at the point where it was a bit like, what are these guys? There's only 4 of them left. Like, it doesn't.
so
You know what
so
I mean?
so if they were to get over in this, then the like, is it going to be cheapened because, oh well, you had an ex world champion in your team or whatever, like as opposed to being, oh, but only 2 of you were in the Dark Order. Like, it just, I think that along with the Acclaimed, that the Dark Order, like those guys, especially Silver and Reynolds, have done a lot of really good work for a long time, and they
Yeah.
deserve a bit of glory. So this
Yep.
would have been a great opportunity. Stick them in there with Evil Uno or one of the other dudes, and that would have been a wonderful story. But it seems pretty obvious. It's just going to go to the EVPs.
Oh, I don't. Yeah, well, we disagree on the result. I think I was 100% sure you were going to say Dark Order, and then you're like, "That goes to the Elite." I'm like, "Oh shit." Um, I think the Elite will put. I think the EVP see Hangman as the future. Like he's the blue chipper. You got to put a belt on him. Like he's the face of the company. Will be for the next 10 years. And I also think that they think that John Silver is also money. So putting the trios belts on these guys for a while makes sense. And also, like from a story point of view, like Heyman didn't win the first AEW title, but he'll win the first trios title with his friends, the Dark Order. That's a nice bow to put on that
Well,
story.
it said something occurred to me. Maybe do you remember when the New Day, when the New Day were champions, they had some special arrangement where they could pick two of the three at any time.
Yeah, it's a free bird rule.
Yeah. So maybe.
Yeah, that's another thing as well. Adam Page could like just give the give the belts over to the Dark Order, but I don't think that's what will happen. I think he will. I think he'll wrestle with these guys for a bit, and they'll lose them to somebody else and move on. But for the purposes of this story, I think Hangman and the Dark Order will win. But I
Okay,
agree with you,
okay.
man. I haven't liked what's happened to the Dark Order in the process.
Yeah. Okay, so finally we've got a difference. Excellent.
We've disagreed a little bit. But still, it'll be fun. It'll be a fun match, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Oh, yes.
The big one, the one we've all been waiting for: John Moxley, AEW Heavyweight Champion, versus a little-known jobber from Chicago called Phil Brooks, CM Punk. What happens here, Paul? Will Punk win? Will Punky win? Will Damien be happy?
Well, I think the entrance music for these two will last longer than the match.
Oh, you reckon?
I don't think they've got it in them to do anything more than okay. The last one was 3 minutes, so this one might be 6 max. I just I have low expectations for this.
Okay.
I guess I may be setting myself up to be pleasantly surprised, but there are much better workers. So these are I enjoy the different matches for different reasons, and for this one, it's going to be for the 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 event, the big event feel, right? I don't expect it necessarily to be a good match, and that's not. It's not a. I don't think that is a real criticism on Punk or Moxley. Moxley's a brawler. Punk's got one move. Like then that's what they do. Uh, yeah, I think maybe I'm trying to set myself up to be pleasantly surprised. So, who's going to win? Well, there's a couple of outcomes. One is that you do the obvious, and after surviving a couple of 2.99 pins, Punk manages to somehow submit or he wouldn't submit.
GTS.
He'd do his GTS, of course he would. Mox stays down for just 3. He gets up again, but the bell's rung, and then the crowd goes wild. and that ends the night. And so predictable, but still a lot of fun. But then there's the possibility that maybe the crowd goes wild in a we're pissed off way because Mox wins it. And that could be very entertaining.
Would be very, very entertaining. The only dude in the company that could beat Punk in Chicago and for the place not be burnt down to the ground is probably Mox, right? I feel like he's the
Yeah.
other guy that everybody loves.
Because if they threaten to burn the place down, he'll go out and beat every one of them up.
Yeah, he'll wrestle every single one of them.
Yes, exactly.
He'll wrestle 20,000 people, bite every single one of them in the head, blade him, and then, then move on. Punk wins. I think that's as good a place as any to. Well, look, let me explain why. Mox is now a 2-time champion, so he gets that. He gets to be the first 2-time champion in AEW. Punk winning the belt back will make him a 2-time champion, and then they can eventually have a rubber match to see who the true champion is, and Punk will do the Japanese and right thing and put Moxley over.
Yeah. Now, if I just look back over the card and think of some of the calls that I've made that are let's say underdogs or unlikely. So Athena taking Jade Cargill's 37 streak.
Mm-hmm.
The Acclaimed taking the champs, the tag belts.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't think that we're going to get 3 big surprises in one night. I mean, then you obviously also add in whoever the Joker is. It's Max. So yes, Punk wins.
Yeah, I think so too, man. Cool. So, look, let's leave it there. It was a great chat, man. I've actually really, really enjoyed this breakdown. So, yes, if you have enjoyed this, once you've watched All Out, and I know once I've got to a pay per view, I want a podcast that's hot off the press. You'll be getting one from me and Paul, giving you all our what we loved, what we didn't like. It'll be raw because it'll be straight after pardon the pun, straight after the podcast. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun. But look, that's all for this week. If you want to help us out, you can help us out by rating and reviewing. Thanks to the Pigskin Podcast Network for hosting us. But until Sunday night, my friends, look after yourselves.
All right.